There we go. Hey. All right, it's working. Everything's working, I think. Good. Why does it ask me now to if I want to go live or not? I don't know. Anyways, lots of topics on the mark on today. Um, we're going to talk about some things that are happening with some of the games tonight. You got the big thing is you got the Florida Panthers going up against the Montreal Canadiens. And I'm going to want to watch this game because you got Ben Sherratt playing against his old team like immediately after he gets traded. And personally, I want to see hate. That's what this is all about. This to me, this is a huge game for a how do I explain it? For what, to know how your acquisition worked out. Florida gave a crap load to get Sherratt from Montreal, and now he's playing against his old team like right away. If I'm an owner of a team, this is going to tell me a lot about what I just got. Like, I'm in the Tortorella camp here when it comes to players and the way they play and how they play and all of those sort of things like that. And if I acquire a player like Sherratt, now he's going to go up against his old team. I've been trying to hash this out in my brain. I have an actual expectation. What the heck is that? What's that background thing? Oh, it's on this side. What was that? Weird. Anyways, that was weird. I have an actual expectation of the. I would have an actual expectation of the player that I acquired to bring the hate tonight against his old team. And I've had arguments with people like, well, you can't expect players to just all of a sudden, turn off their emotional attachment to the players that they used to play before. I mean, I suppose you can't expect it. I don't understand why you can't though. I know when I played, when I got on the ice, it's like a different world, man. When you get on the ice, you're no longer going up against, I don't know what it is. It's like the players on the ice to me when I played, there was no, they were just players, regardless of where they were before. I don't know. I just, everything turned off for me. I could easily fight somebody that I was playing with before. No problems. And I think when you acquire guys like Sherratt, in order to have that happen, in order to have a guy that plays like that. So I've had a difficult time putting a pick on for that game tonight because I'm honestly not sure how Sherratt's going to react now that he's going to play his old team that soon. I'm really going to be interested to see how it is that he does react. I sure hope he plays with some hate because that's that's what I would be expecting if I had a guy upcoming. What do you mean upcoming? It's happening right now. Am I not attached to this something here? What's going on here? Upcoming. Watch on. Oh, it's working just fine. Where is everybody? Brian, how you doing? Okay, I was wondering if anybody was going to come in here. So, Brian, I was wondering, now, if you're the Florida Panthers right now, what are you saying to Ben Sherratt as he goes up against his old team? Are you saying anything? But what's the expectation? I'm trying to put into words what I want to say here and the importance of what I want to say, and something that I've just noticed that people accept that I find unacceptable as far as players and what I want them to do on a team that I'm on. Okay, there's some guys that really exemplify what I believe a player should be like, not necessarily because the guy I'm about to mention, the first thing you're going to say is no because he's done dirty things or whatever. Go Caps, how you doing? But remember the first time Brandon Lemieux went back to New York and played in New York? I can't remember who it was, but he scrapped somebody on that team. And he hit a player, I think it was Panarin or something. And, I mean, he spared he didn't reserve anything because he played against his old team. He had as much hate playing against the Rangers as he does in anyone else he played against. And personally, that's the players I want on my team. And now Ben Sherratt has an opportunity to go prove whether he's made of that when he goes up against Montreal. And I just have a feeling that he's not. I have a feeling that you're barely going to see Ben Sherratt tonight. And I hope I'm wrong, but if I was going to spend as much money as not money, but as much, if I were to invest as many assets as they did for a guy like Ben Sherratt, I would only do it if I thought for sure he was like that. And I think it's an important way to be. And maybe it's the Tortorella in me, and I just happen to agree with him. When you get on the ice, I think you should have a healthy hate. I call it a healthy hate for the opposition. It's a healthy hate because it's not a hate that you have off the ice. There shall be Frolic, yeah. It's not the hate that you have after the ice, off the ice. You don't hate them off the ice, but when you get on the ice, you literally freaking hate them. It's that state of competition that I believe I want as many of my players to have as possible. And I'm going to be interested to see if Ben Sherratt has that against Montreal tonight. What about you guys? Like, I don't know if you played or not, but just if you played, I know me, I would have no problems with it. Like, I heard the question to Brady Tkachuk once if he would, if he would ever think that he would fight Matthew. And, like, they didn't even have to get the words out of his mouth. And he's like, yeah, well, of course I would. Exactly. I don't even know why that's a question. This is hockey. Why would you even question? I don't have a brother, but if I did have a brother and he was on the opposition and it was a point he did something that was a fightable offense, I'd drop it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think twice about it. Wouldn't shed a tear if I broke his nose. No, that's what hockey's all about. You know what I mean? Well, it explains a lot about what Korpisalo was going through then, right? That's why he wasn't he was trying to fight through an injury, and he didn't want to go through that surgery because if you go through that surgery as a goaltender, there's a really good chance it's all over. So you wouldn't be surprised if he scored. Maybe. I want to see if he has hate for that team. That's what I want. And not because they traded him or not because, no. I want him to have hate for that team just because it's the opposition, and I want to see that. I just spent a first, a decent prospect and a second, I think it was, something like that, for him. I want hate on that ice because that's what I acquired you for, right? And I hate to say this, but, I didn't really see that except for in the playoffs with Sherratt in Montreal often enough. Now I want to see it, and we'll see if he does. I don't want to hear this. Well, it's his ex team. I don't care. What does that have to do with anything? That has nothing to do with anything. When you get on that ice, they're just unidentifiable other humans in skates. That's the kind of player I want on my team. You have an emotional attachment to the opposition, move on to a different team. This isn't the place for you. That's the way I am. That's the Tortorella in me. I agree with Tortorella that way. Do you guys agree with that? Do you agree with me there? Do you think Sherratt gets a mulligan here because he played against his old team and we were all friends and it's kind of hard to go do this? No, I didn't pay for that. Sorry. If I didn't give you a first round pick for that nonsense. I don't even get it. I don't even get it. Completely separate like that what kind of relationship you have with somebody off the ice and what you do on the ice. And maybe it's just a natural thing you have to have, but I don't know. That's the way I see it. So, anyways, I think this is going to be one of the most interesting games tonight. Montreal versus Florida. I can't wait to watch this game. I might even go live for this game No, I'm going to the gym tonight. Never mind. I would like to go live for this game. I have a feeling Montreal is going to win this game. I just have a feeling. Exactly. Brian, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, I don't know, especially the Kachucks. You don't think they fought even if they played against each other hockey, they fought all the time, man, I would think, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but growing up, like my friends and whatever, when we played, we fought. Even if we were just playing street hockey, the competition would intensify to the point where there would be fights. That's what hockey's about. It had nothing to do. After the game, you go home, maybe even you're a little bothered by it or whatever, but it's over the next day. That's the whole point of hockey. So if it's an ex-teammate or whatever, do you think the game has got that way though? Do you think we've lost that in the game now? Do you think we've lost that in the game? I kind of get a feeling that we have. It might be my own personal thing. I don't think we've lost it completely, but I think it has been lost to a certain extent because, at one point there wasn't even a thought towards that. It wouldn't even come up. Like nobody would ever said, "Oh, they're." I don't know. It would have been considered weird if you were able to, like a lot. Lucic. I mean, I've loved Lucic for a lot of things and stuff. I mean, I still loved, especially when he was in Boston. I loved Lucic when he was in Boston. No doubt about it. He was freaking amazing. But apparently, he told his coach in Calgary and in Edmonton that he won't fight players that he played with, like on teams that he played with. I just don't get that. It doesn't. Why? I would love to know why. I mean, what would? It doesn't make any sense to me. I think it had something to do with because I wouldn't be genuine. Well, that's the whole point. Why wouldn't you be genuine? Why would it matter to you that you played with the person before or even knew them or hung out with them or even was your best friend? I don't get it. Anyways, maybe I'm going on too long with this. Apparently, by the way, everybody's leaving. I am going on too. Unless my stream is not working very well. How's my stream working? Should be working. I'm surprised so many people are coming and going. Anyways, okay, let me get you up on the chat. So that game there, that's some of the Tampa Bay Boston. What an interesting game this will be. This is like a possible playoff game. Tampa Bay has owned Boston in Boston. 5-1 straight up in their last 6 in Boston. This Tampa Bay team is one of the few teams that seem to get in the head of the Boston Bruins. Last time they played, I remember the last time they played, there was a situation where Pat Maroon and Marchand were going at each other, which is the way it's supposed to be. You know things are right in the world when that's happening. And I think Marchand was on the way to the box or something. Yeah, he was on the way to the box. He got in a penalty or something like that. And Marchand kept on yelling to Maroon, Patty Maroon, I own you. I own you. Basically saying, I own you, bitch. I own you, and stuff like that. And Patty Maroon just kept on saying to him, I just won 3 cups in a row, buddy. Where were you? Where were you in the Cup Finals? Where were you in the Cup? I didn't see you in the Cup Finals last year. I didn't. In fact, I don't remember you at all last year. Owned you what? You talked to me when you won a couple cups. And Boston, when they go up against Tampa right now, it doesn't seem like they can find an angle. Yes, Bay Area esports, right on, buddy. Boston can't find an angle right now. Boston's a team that beats a lot of the lower teams for the very reason Tampa Bay beats Boston. Because Boston wins a lot of their games on machismo, on confidence, and they have an air of we are the best. And they play like they are the best, regardless of if it's actually true or not. And when they come up against Tampa Bay, they got nothing, man. They have to feel inferior because he won. Yeah, right. He did win a cup, but he didn't win 3, and he hasn't won recently. Patty Maroon's got everything on him. Patty Maroon's going to be like, you're a has-been, whatever. You guys were something one time, but we're the best there is right now. And Maroon uses that everywhere he goes. If you ever watch Maroon when he's talking to people, he is constantly belittling people on the ice. He is constantly belittling people on the ice. And the great thing about Pat Maroon is he can do it, and he doesn't even he makes like minimum, like what, $1 million a year? Does he even make that? Patty Maroon chose, and Patty Maroon will have a job in this organization for life, for sure. But I'm sure he worked out a deal with them already to get paid handsomely after he retires. What's his $900,000 a year for Patty Maroon? On the open market right now, Pat Maroon would probably pull $2.5 million easy, just because he's got 3 cups and all that. You know, he purposely took way less money to stay in Tampa Bay. So to make sure that he wins his championships and stuff like that. So when he goes up against these Marchands and all that kind, especially a guy like Marchand, who's a cocky SOB, who I love, by the way. Not putting down Marchand at all. I freaking love Marchand. Love, 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 love. One of my favorite. Patty Maroon, one of my favorites in the NHL. Marchand, one of my favorites in the NHL. To me, these are the guys that get you championships, right? But when he goes up a guy like Marchand, Marchand also took a lot less. His contract is absolutely fantastic. But when he goes up against guys like Marchand or even, like superstar players and stuff like that, he'll say things like, oh, you got all the money. Oh, aren't you great that you got all the money? You're a big superstar or whatever. I got 3 cups, a-hole. I got 3 cups. You are just a selfish little bat. Who are you? Who? I love Maroon. He gave himself every bit of artillery to belittle anybody below him. Do you know what Maroon can say to Taylor Hall? Maroon playing against Taylor Hall, he can crush his ego in like 3 sentences. You soft little take the money SOB. How many, Taylor Hall, you have no cups. No cups, Taylor Hall. You know why? Because all you care about is money and how much you get and yourself. That's why. He will tell him on the ice, you're a useless. That's what what Maroon is. And honestly, that's what hockey is. When you're on the ice, you say things like saying things to belittle the opponent, and Maroon gave himself all the artillery in the world. And then you throw Perry in here. I'm going to say right now, Tampa Bay wins the cup for the 3rd time this year. Corey Perry and Pat Maroon on the ice against these guys. Corey Perry did the same thing, by the way. I mean, he made his money too, don't get me wrong, but he's getting league minimum to play with Tampa Bay right now. You get Corey Perry and Pat Maroon belittling everybody on the ice in the playoffs, and these guys, they have a pride. They can try to pretend it doesn't hurt them and all that stuff like that. But if you saw, exactly, love Perry. Think about this, man. Every series that Montreal played last year, 1 or 2 players lost their minds and took stupid penalties. The one that we know of the most was Scheifele in Winnipeg. Right? Scheifele was a guy who was going to be was up for getting the Gentlemanly Player Award, whatever, Lady Byng or whatever. He was a Lady Byng candidate. And then in a moment, he loses his mind. Although, honestly, you know what I think about that play? I don't think it was as bad as people gave it up to be. But it was what happened after he hit him. He looked like he was a man possessed. And I have a feeling that a lot of that had to do with guys like Corey Perry. Corey Perry to a guy like Scheifele playing in Winnipeg, all game long, he's going to reminding him, like, okay, let's look at Corey Perry. And don't you think that they bring up salaries and how much you make and all that on the ice? They freaking do. They do. And when you have that kind of artillery like Perry and Maroon do, they're going to dig it into you constantly all the time. Constantly. They're going to use it against you constantly to tell you that we want a cup. We are the ones that want a cup. You don't want a cup. You don't want a cup. If you wanted a cup, you'd do what we did. And Winnipeg, here we go. Scheifele's actually pulling, what, $6 million till 2024. Not bad, actually, for what he produces and stuff like that. But they're still going to rub into him that he's not a leader. You've done nothing. What's Winnipeg? What have you done in Winnipeg? You've done nothing. You yam. You're nothing. You're talking to Perry himself has got a couple cups. You're talking to Maroon, who just won 3 cups on a team. Like, we're a team here. You're yam and did nothing. We don't need to hear from you. Totally belittling Scheifele like I think he's ever been belittled in his life. And that's why I think Tampa Bay is going to win the cup again. The hard part that they're going to have, I think, is when they go up against a team like Carolina. Carolina, on the other side of it, is I'm gonna put this in the title. I'm gonna say who's going to win the cup. Hey, Mark Brown, how you doing? The hard part for Tampa, I think the hard team for Tampa will be Carolina. Because Brind'Amour has put they play with an old school professionalism in Carolina. Huge fan of good chirping. They play with an old school professionalism in Carolina, where they are not very chirpy, but Brind'Amour has been training them almost like a machine. They play very machine-like. Leafs Addict, how you doing, buddy? We're talking about who I think is going to win the cup and why. I think when Tampa Bay goes up against them, they're going to have a difficult time getting them off their game. Guys like Aho, they bring guys into their on their team, even their drafting. There are certain type of guys that don't really have a high ego. That's what I'm trying to say. Carolina is not a high ego team. So when they go, Pat Maroon and Corey Perry are going to have a little more difficult time trying to find the way to grind these guys down mentally, to belittle them to what they say, because Carolina uses a physical pushback, but they don't use a mental pushback. Everything they do is based on, is almost like it's mechanical. So you're sort of talking to a wall when you talk to guys like Aho, Svechnikov, Slavin. You know, it's hard to get a reaction out of those guys. He wasn't traded back. He's not. The trade was canceled, and so I think Lightning versus Carolina, that one's going to be the toughest for them. Lightning versus Toronto, they'll chew them up and eat them. Lightning will destroy Toronto, destroy them. Matthews is getting there, though. I don't know. Matthews is getting there, but I remember what happened with as soon as Tavares went down. That's what it was last year when they played Toronto. As soon as Tavares went down, Perry used that as a artillery to ruin Matthews and Marner. He kept on reminding them of Tavares. Even though it didn't look like it was on purpose, and I don't think it was, Perry almost seemed like he did it on purpose, or at the very least, that he was happy that it happened to Tavares while he was on the ice. He kept on emotionally reminding them, and then he would tell them, "You're crap without him. You're useless without Tavares. What are you gonna do, you freaking punk kid? Against me, against us, against a cup, like people that have won cups like me. You guys are gonna do something. You're useless." And he beat them down over and over and over and over again. And you could see it in Toronto. I don't know if he was actually happy that it happened, Leafs addict, but he was going to make it appear that he was happy that it was happened. He's going to use that angle on Toronto for sure. He's going to look. I wouldn't doubt, and I don't know that he did this. I wouldn't doubt that Corey Perry would tell them that basically make them feel like we want to win a cup so bad, we'll do that. We will do that. They're going to intimidate. They were going to intimidate Toronto as possible. When I watched that series, it almost seemed like to me that Toronto made up their choice that if you got to be like that to win a cup, then screw you. You might as well have it. Right? And, Perry will use that angle for sure. And what does Toronto have? Who does Toronto have on their lineup that's going to do that? Nobody. They're too nice, man. The Toronto Maple Leafs are too nice. If the Leafs in Montreal or Montreal, no, if the Leafs are the Lightning are going to win that series easy. Toronto doesn't have anything to go up against. Lyabushkin. What about Lyabushkin? The guy should be a 5'6" defenseman. They got him playing on the top line. Go look at Tampa Bay's defense. Tampa Bay's bottom pair is almost as good as Toronto's top pair. Yeah, he's nothing compared to what they have. Lyabushkin against Hedman, of course. And I'm not a Tampa Bay fan here. If those Tampa Bay players were on the Toronto Maple Leafs, I would be saying that Toronto is going to eat them alive. It had nothing to do with any affiliation with any team. But McDonough, Bogosian, Sergachev, Chernak, all of those guys are a million times better than Lyabushkin is. They're better. Sergachev is better than Giordano by a country mile. So is McDonough. 100% dork. Toronto has no chance against Tampa Bay whatsoever. None. I don't even understand. Why would you not have Gio playing with Brody? Doesn't make sense to me at all. I don't know. Vegas now, and I was a fan of what they were doing because it was fun, but it's not fun anymore. They are a laughing stock of the. They are the laughing stock of the. They stole the title of most clownish organization away from Chicago, man. I don't think the Leafs can beat anybody. Which team can the Leafs beat in the playoffs? I don't think they beat Boston. I love Matthews, but I mean the whole team in general, I don't think they're built for the playoffs. I'd like to see it, but maybe Boston. Maybe they could beat Boston. The Vegas Yankees. They might be able to beat Boston, maybe. I don't know, though. There's too much heart there in Boston. Bergeron, Marchand. Vegas, ever since Eichel went there, there hasn't been a connection in that on that team. There's no chemistry. Like, you have to imagine. I'm starting to believe, and I've said this several times on the stream now, that oh, is he out for the season? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that he was out for the season. Boston has a pride that's built into that team that Toronto has not built yet. And I think it revolves mostly around Marchand. There's an air of we are the best. What was it, Bergeron? No, Bergeron's day to day, my friend. I don't think he's out for the season. He's day to day. Yeah, well, I mean, when the injuries come back and stuff, but you're still going to have to build that chemistry up. Now, I know one thing, I'm on the Preds tonight. I can't take Vegas for anything right now. I mean, how do you play for that organization with all the bumbles that they've done? Dadonov coming back after being traded away. Now he's going to play on the top line. Like, that is an energy I can't back. That's going to be... it's like to me on Tampa Bay last year, buddy. Tampa Bay last year drove me freaking crazy. They need guys. Well, I was just talking about when I started the stream. Stream. Every team, I believe every team needs guys that, like we're going to see in Montreal tonight, if it's true or not, with Sherratt, that if they were traded to their own team, they would hate their own team right away. That's what the Maple Leafs need. They need, like, Lemieux in LA. And I don't care that honestly, I don't care that he bit Brady Tkachuk. I don't care. I don't think it's a good thing, but it's Brady Tkachuk. Brady Tkachuk, that's what they need. Every team needs Brady Tkachuk. Toronto needs their Brady Tkachuk. Like, Lemieux bit Brady Tkachuk, okay? I don't hate Lemieux for biting Brady Tkachuk. Brady Tkachuk is the kind of guy that makes you want to bite him. That's why I love him. I love Lemieux because he bit Brady Tkachuk. I love Brady Tkachuk because he forces people to want to bite him. Those are the guys that I want on my team. And that is what Toronto needs on their team, and they don't have it. Simmons is not that anymore. He's not. He was kind of at one time, but he can't play enough anymore. He's not good. He's not good enough. He can't stand up to somebody and have like a challenge with them because they look at him like, dude, I just got to skate the opposite way. You'll never catch me in a second. You're like, you should have been gone a long time ago. What are you still doing here? You're only here because the only reason why you're here is because you happen to get a salary from Toronto. And that's it. Besides that, he's not an NHL player. So he can't have the, you got to be able to play and you got to be able, and you got to hate. And Toronto, who do they have in their lineup that does that? Nobody. I don't see anybody in that lineup that does that. That's why Calgary went out and got a Coleman. Because Coleman hates the opposition. Coleman goes back in Toronto, he'll drop him with Maroon in a heartbeat. We won't care. That's why they got Coleman. And I remember when they made that deal, I thought it was a bad deal, but I was wrong. And I mean, I, I don't know why I didn't count. I counted Sutter out. I'm still mad at myself for doing that because I loved him when he was in LA. I don't know what in the world made me think that because he's old now that he wouldn't be very good. I was wrong. It was stupid. So they fired the wrong person. Coleman bad contract. It depends on how you look at it, man. He's got the kind of hate you want in the playoffs, and he can keep up. I'll tell you what. If you take Kerfoot out of Toronto and put Coleman in there, and now all of a sudden, now I'll give Toronto a chance. You take Kerfoot out of there or any of your second line players pretty much and put Coleman in, and now you got a chance. Yeah, it is strange, and I think it's gonna. That's gonna be an interesting part, Doug, of what. That's gonna be interesting to see how both sides do. You're watching Croatia versus Bulgaria. Well, welcome in, by the way, Raceman Rocks. Yeah, they shouldn't have protected Hull, but they still need to find a guy that can hate in that lineup, man. They need a hate leader. They need a hate leader. A guy that, I believe that's what they need. You watch, Florida has one. Florida has a couple, actually. That's what I think gives really Florida is going to be an interesting team. I still think they have to learn how to play playoff hockey. Their road record is pretty poor, and that's usually a sign of a team that has struggles playing tight defensive games, which they do. And you're going to have to get good at that in order to do well in the playoffs. I don't care how much talent you have. But they got a hate leader on this team, and that's Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett, when he was in Calgary, was amazing in the playoffs. And you could even put in Patrick Hornquist too. I don't know how much he's going to play. And Radko Gudas. Like, they got a couple guys there that, especially when it comes to playoff time, their hate meter goes up a lot. Yeah, he's a bit of a pain, but he's only a bit of a pain. He needs to be more. You need more than a bit of a pain. When you're going to go up against Pat Maroon and Corey Perry, you got to have more than a bit of a pain there. Pat Maroon and Corey Perry will chew up Bunting and spit him out. You won't do nothing. And they still haven't got out and got anybody like that. There's not too many of them in the league, actually. You try to go through every team. Like the Oilers, Cassian, sorta. He can't play enough. That's the problem. They want him to be that. He's kind of injured most of the time. And you exactly, the nicest goalie in the league, besides maybe Marc-Andre Fleury. But Marc-Andre Fleury, even when he gets on the ice, he's not the same person. Marc-Andre Fleury has a look in his eye, like when he gets on the ice, his competitive juice is flowing. He's not all Mr. Nice Guy that he is off the ice, but Campbell looks like he is. Campbell looks like Campbell's the kind of guy that's going to tap the guy on this. Hey, nice shot, buddy. Good shot. That was a good shot. To the opposition and stuff like that. What did I think about the Maple Leafs? Maple Leafs versus Devils? Oh, yeah, that's right. It was 3-2. It pissed me off. That should have been over all day long. Mrazek had a good game. I don't know. They barely beat New Jersey. New Jersey had like Nigel Dawes in net. They barely beat New Jersey. That's what I saw last night. I mean, Toronto's going to get their wins in the regular season, but you wanted Zach Sanford instead of Richie? Yeah, it's not. I thought that was a pretty good move. Yeah, but I mean, Mrazek might be good for a little while, but I mean, he's got a pretty good sample size of a career where he's done that very thing everywhere he's gone, pretty much. His most extended success has been in Carolina, which is the best defense in the league. You got to look what Anderson was in Toronto, and now look what he is in Carolina. Is he a better goaltender in Carolina than he was in Toronto? No. Yeah, Lindholm playing for, that'll be interesting to watch. I think Tampa Bay wins tonight, though. And part of it is that reason is Lindholm has never played with McAvoy before. I think this is I think in this case it could take a little bit, especially when it's a top pairing defenseman. They haven't played. You could see like some difficulties for a little bit. But I think Tampa Bay wins that one tonight. I would definitely look to the under, though. Actually, I should put that in right now. Oh, yeah. Hey, Joey Serrano. Holy smokes. My gosh, I think I've made it. I think I made it, boys and girls. I finally made it. Joey Serrano showed up on my stream. That's it. I don't need to go any further than this now. I've hit the top. Joey Serrano is in the stream. Look at that. Woo! My gosh. Actually, I got to put this down in my journal tonight. Lindholm is playing with McAvoy. You think who? Lindholm should play with Carlo? McAvoy's better defensively than Carlo is. Who do you think Carlo should play with? Lindholm? Lindholm is fantastic defensively. I personally think McAvoy is better defensively than Carlo. Carlo is good, but McAvoy is a beast, man. McAvoy is amazing. McAvoy is Boston's defense. I kind of wonder, dear diary, dear diary, Joey Serrano came into my stream today. Everything that I ever dreamed and wished to be has happened. All my dreams have come true. I don't know where to go from here. It all seems downhill now. I might as well just be left. The universe might as well just take me from the earth today. There's no further up now. I don't know if I'm bugging you or not. Joey, you're amazing. I'm kidding. I love you, Joey. He used to come in all the time and he has anyway. Josh Brown is starting on defense tonight. Okay. You won't like that too much. There won't be much you like about that, Bill. More reason to say that Tampa Bay is probably going to win tonight, I would say. Go with the flow, Pearl. I know you. That's the thing. Joey just does that. Joey's got the life, man. Joey's got the life, man. There's all the lives, and then there's Joey's life. Like, he's got the life. He's got the ladies all over the place, can do whatever he wants, sun in the sand, freedom from everything. He's got the life, yo. You want to learn how to live life, you just talk to Mr. Serrano. Go get his Facebook page. Check it out, man. Guy's amazing. Guy, like, picks fresh bananas in the morning for breakfast. He's got her all, buddy. He's got her all. I'm going to be there one day with you, Joey. I'm going there one day. Once I get, once I get 1,000 subscribers, so like about 2045, somewhere around there maybe, I'm going to go there. What's next? That'll be awesome. You'll see me and Joey. We'll be Pearlo dancing together. It's going to be freaking awesome. I can't wait. I'm going to see all of y'all guys. Don't go, Leafs Addict. What are you talking about? Okay, what do we got into? Yeah, I don't think you're going to be too happy with Mr. Brown. Who are they playing him with tonight? Oh, they don't have him in tonight, bud. Not okay. So they're putting Josh in tonight. I got Connor Clifton in tonight. I got Connor Clifton in for that game tonight. Oh, that doesn't even surprise me, Joey. What like, I don't notice the ladies in your pictures anymore. You know, it's like the ladies in your pictures are just like part of the scenery now. It's like you don't even notice it. It's more rare to see a bunch of bananas in your pictures than the ladies all over the place. So it's like, that would be like if you went to the Playboy Mansion and there was a bunch of bananas in the middle of the floor, you wouldn't be surprised. There could be like 15 ladies in the room, and that wouldn't surprise you. But the bunch of bananas, that would be like, what are the bananas doing in the middle of the room, right? So that's... Oh, could have swapped it, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. If a guy like Brown, I mean, I don't know. He's an NHL player. I mean, if he walked in the room right now, I'd be like, wow, that's Joshua Brown. So for me to talk poorly about him is stupid, but it's all here in the paradise. That's right. But if it doesn't look like he's in, if they're going to play Brown, they probably want to have him practice a bit first. He's not like a natural player, so they're probably going to want him to practice with the team for a while before they throw him into the wolves, I would think. Lindholm, that's a little different. That guy's bordering on elite. Like, that's an all-star defenseman. He can figure it out. And I can understand why they put him with McAvoy, because, I mean, if there is going to be some communication issues or whatever, not many better than McAvoy to cover those up a little bit. So, all right, let's get to the next game. Dallas, Carolina. Now, this is an interesting game. I listened to a bunch of cappers, and everybody's all over the map on this one. Dallas has been traveling a lot as of late, and they've been doing, like, they just played. Was that in Edmonton? They just played in Edmonton and then traveled to Carolina. No, they played home to Edmonton and then went to Carolina. Before that, they were on this super long road trip. They went home for one game and now go on the road to Carolina, then come home against Vancouver. I don't know. Some guys that I really, really respect a lot are all over Carolina tonight. I just can't see it. Yeah, I bet you it is a lot of fun to be there. Yeah, there's a good Bill. What is that all about? Maybe Fleury wants to practice with the team a little bit before he does that.
Dude on TikTok. Sweet 16, elite. Hello, I'm Tommy Chrysanta talking sports with T.
I would have thought Fleury was in for sure tonight. For sure. I don't really understand why they're going Talbot in tonight. I don't get it. I don't get it. I almost want to go with Vancouver just because of that. It just seems silly to me. Like, are we going to actually pretend that Talbot has a crease here? Like, are we actually going to pretend that Talbot is still the number one goaltender in Minnesota now? Yeah. I mean, maybe Marc-Andre Fleury wants to, like, to learn how the defense is and stuff like that before he jumps in. Maybe he doesn't want to disrespect Talbot and take, like, I would think that this is a Marc-Andre Fleury choice. I don't think this is a Minnesota choice. I think this is Marc-Andre Fleury paying respect to Talbot and wanting to come in a good relationship with Talbot. That's what I think is happening here, and I get that. If that's the reason, I get it. It sounds like something Fleury would do, but let's not for a second think that Fleury's not going to be ripping that crease from Talbot. I would be absolutely blown away. I would be. Oh, you're right though, Doug Masta. Look at Doug. Look at the big brain on Dougie Masta. You are so right though. I can't. I mean, like I said, I talked to the fans of every team around the league, and no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Minnesota fans hate change. No doubt about it. They more than any team out there. I've never seen anything like it. If you put any trade out there, they're like, we don't need them. We don't need them. We don't need them. we only care about, we got our own guys, and our own guys are going to come up, and our own guys are this, and blah, 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 blah. Like, if there is any fans in the league that want their roots, like, and I guess that's maybe because they're so college driven in Minnesota, like, they get emotionally attached to their players. They want hometown guys and up like that and all that kind of stuff like that. But like if you even, I suggested, I just did the Lafreniere trade video, which I all recommend you check out. Lafreniere traded to 5 or 6 teams. You can find out in the video why I think that's possible. I might talk about it here. But I had Lafreniere possibly going to Minnesota because they've got Parise contract and what's his name? Suter buyout situation going on. I don't know if you're aware of that. They're going to be capped out for like $14 million for the next 5 years. And I don't even mind the buyout, actually. I think it was a good move. But they could trade Lafreniere for Fiala, and some like Lambeau, Kuznudanov, prospects, first round draft picks, stuff like that. I suggested that to Minnesota, and they were like, we don't need them. We don't need them. We don't need them. We don't need them. Yeah, if that's not an over, I don't know what to say. I don't know. But how is New Jersey-Toronto not an over last night? Mrazek versus Dawes with 2 teams that, how is that not an over? I got it. I mean, I got the over for tonight on that game. I mean, how in the world can you not have an over on that? Binnington versus Jones. And not only that, Krug is out for St. Louis. So they're using Leddy on their top line tonight. Leddy. One of the worst one of the worst D-men for defense in the league that has never played with whoever he's going to play with tonight. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if Philadelphia won that game, actually. Like, how is that not going to be an over? I have no idea. Philadelphia has no defense whatsoever. We got Ristolainen in their second pair. Ristolainen and Leddy on the same ice surface should be an over right there alone, regardless of whatever happens. I don't know. He finally had a good game, I guess. But, I mean, I bet that over every single time. It's just, I guess it's not everything's going to happen every time. Even if it's an 80% play, there's still a 20% of the time it's not going to hit it. So, but I'm never not betting that over. Never. I mean, it took them that long to feel stood up and pissed? Took them that long? But Mrazek does have good games, and you play good defense in front of him, you can do okay or whatever the case may be. But it's not like next time Mrazek's in net, I'm going to be like, oh, he had a good game last time, so I better bet the under. No. You were not over-choked by any of the trades? Yeah, I had a hard time in that video, I must admit, really putting the value into what you should get back for Lafreniere. It's a tough move. I mean, I really didn't like it when they drafted Lafreniere in that deal. I know how good he can be, and I know power forwards are hard to find. But if you're gonna draft him, you gotta trade Kreider. I mean, they're hoping he can play well on the right side. But the problem is in this league now, these guys are in it to make money like everybody else, and Lafreniere's never going to be a righty. He's never going to be a right winger. He might be able to fill the role there, but you're going to have to pay him like a star left winger and play him on the right side. That's what you're going to have to do. And maybe they do that. I don't know. But you're still going to have to pay him like he would produce on the left side. You'd have to. Because he's never going to sign a long-term deal with you unless you give him like $7 or $8 million a year, at least $8 million a year. So do you want to pay a guy $8 million to play on the right side and be there to play on the left side in case Panarin or Kreider gets injured? It's a tough spot for them. You are not overjoyed by the return. And, you probably got a good point, Mark. I had a difficult time putting the return in there. It's, I think that if I were to do the video again after thinking about it, because a lot of times I do those videos sort of on the fly, I think the best place would have been LA. And it would be like Kupari, Turcotte, Jersey, and possibly even 2 firsts, something like that. I think they put themselves in a tough spot though, because LA's like, oh, we're not giving you that much for a guy that hasn't really hit his stride yet. Let's face it. I think most people thought Lafreniere was going to have more production than he does right now, but I don't really see Lafreniere being the problem, So I think when it comes right down to it, the Rangers are going to have to be like, look, we're only trading him with forgetting what we believe his value is. And, over time, I think somebody would give them the kind of value you're talking about. Like Detroit, I think, would give Bertuzzi their first this year. They're not. I don't think any team's going to give you like a Raymond for him or something like that. You get a package of really good, really solid prospects or something like that. I'd have to look at Detroit's prospect pool to see who else I would pick, but yeah, I probably I think I underdid the. I think you're right. I think I underdid the return on that. Kupari, Turcotte, Jersey in the first or something like that. And I don't even know if I do that if I'm the Rangers. I'm really looking for a second line winger and a really good right winger. So it would probably take some time to be able to come up with the perfect trade that would work that way. But I put it on the Ranger boards, and they didn't even want to listen to the return. We're not trading him for anybody, all that kind of stuff like that. Ranger fans, I mean, if you are a person that's easily offended, don't go talk to Ranger fans, okay? I appreciate them, actually. But the Ranger fans and I go at it a lot. And I love that. I love it. I love doing that. And not to piss people off, but let's go back and forth. Why not? I love them that way. They never delete me or, block me or anything like that. I don't say anything like personally to them. We talk basically just about hockey. But they will say, what, you're some expert? What the hell do you know? There's no way that they're going to trade Lafreniere, all that stuff like that. But I think most of the time, it's before they've even thought about it. It's just, they have an emotional attachment to the player, and I understand that, I guess. Actually, maybe I don't. In, in some ways, I don't think I have, and maybe I don't have enough of an emotional attachment to the players on my own team. I'm not a very good fan of a team, I think. I'm not. I think when people say, well, in Edmonton Oilers fans will say, well, you're not a real fan. And, they might be right, actually. Maybe I'm not a real fan because I'm not a person who, is going to get butt hurt because they're trading a player away or something like that. I don't know. If that's what it means to be a fan, then I guess I'm not a fan. Yeah, I thought about Montreal and I didn't put Montreal in there, but that's mostly because I didn't think Montreal had enough that they would have been looking for. Oh, I know it's normal for public. I don't mind it. I think I actually appreciate people that are so fan conscious of their team that they are emotionally involved in that team. It's what makes really hockey go around. I just don't have that bone in me, that's all. Yeah, you're right. It's not my style. I think you're right. It's just not me. But it rubs people the wrong way that are like that when I can be so flippant about trading this player, that player, or whatever. It's just the way it is. Whatever. Yeah, you're right. It isn't my style to be a fan. It's not. If it was, I guess I would have the Edmonton Oilers fan thingamajigger or whatever. Yeah. So, anyways, I looked at Montreal. Let's look back at it again. Maybe I didn't look deep enough, but I just don't see where they have. I know Montreal would be all over Lafreniere. They would be, and you're right. If there was an overpay to be had, Montreal would be it. I would say for sure. But are they going to give up a Cole Caulfield for him? Maybe Caulfield plus. But that's kind of what I'd be looking for to Montreal if I was going to do that deal. But, I'm not touching Drouin. I don't want Gallagher. He's too old now in a deal like that. They haven't built up their prospect pool enough for me to, and not only that, the Rangers would be looking for players that can play right now. I'm pretty sure, and I just don't see the players here that would hit that value. What do you think? What would you want back from Montreal if you were to make that deal? Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, yeah. Why would Vasi not be available? But Cooper never puts his goaltender in until the last second. I think you're a great fan base. I disagree, Mark. I think it's a great fan base. I love Rangers fans. I post on Ranger boards all the time because what I like about Rangers fans is they're going to call you out and say what they want to say. They aren't going to mince their words and all the other nonsense or whatever, and they don't really get offended. That's what I like about Rangers fans. They don't really get offended in the sense like they're going to block you or whatever. They let you be what you are, but they're going to call you a piece of crap or you're a clown or whatever. Oh, who's this clown or blah 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 blah. And then they're going to say their point or whatever. And then I put my point back and sometimes they shut up and sometimes they keep talking. But, they're very reactive though. It's like they don't And I think most fan bases are like that too. They just have an emotional reaction and they blurt it out on the page before they've actually thought it through a lot of the time. That so yeah, I guess let's get back to the games. Edmonton and San Jose. I don't know. I think Mike Smith is back. I think he's back. Oh, Philadelphia fans. I'm a Flyers fan, so Philadelphia, New York Rangers fans. I hate to say it. New York Rangers fans are way more knowledgeable than Philadelphia Flyers fans. Philadelphia Flyers fans, they are Philadelphia Flyers fans are what the general managers of the Philadelphia Flyers are. Like, they still will try to tell you that Ristolainen is a good defenseman. They'll try to argue it, but they don't argue it. They just tell you he's a good defenseman. That's it. I don't get it. The New York Rangers, if Ristolainen was on the New York Rangers, they would be screaming bloody murder until he was out of that lineup. Like New York Rangers fans identify crappy players pretty quick. They're good that way. Nemeth is like the dirge of the New York Rangers right now. Like, you go on the boards and talk about that, they will give you a million ways to remove. They will give you a million ways to remove Nemeth from the lineup in any way, and it might involve sharp objects and rocks too, like that. But they identify that Nemeth is a bad defenseman. If Ristolainen was on the Rangers right now, it would be the same thing. They would be just absolutely abhorrent of him. Oh, they hate each other. Oh, okay, cool. That's not awful. That's good. Yeah, that's right, Mark. That's what Ranger fans are like. Rangers fans they're hockey players. They're hockey player fans. When you go into a Rangers board, you are going into a hockey game where everything is off the table now. You take off all your hurts and nonsense and get in there and scrum it up and say whatever you got to say. You can say it any way you want to say it. And like you said, after that's over, if you do happen to know each other, you'll go for a beer afterwards. I love it. I love Ranger fans, man. Philadelphia Flyer fans, I don't know. They're the same as Ranger fans. I just think Ranger fans are more knowledgeable about the game than Philadelphia Flyers fans. That's all. Philadelphia Flyers fans love their players way too much, regardless of whether they're good or bad. Philadelphia Flyers fans will try to make it seem like every player they have is the greatest player in the land. They have a very difficult time admitting that players suck. There are occasionally ones that don't, but they're the forever optimists, yet somehow still find it in them to boo when they go to the game. It's like, have you ever known those people that will talk their family members up in public like they're the greatest thing since sliced bread? But if you ever talk to their family members, they'll tell them that they always talk down to them when they're home. That's what Philadelphia Flyers fans are like. They don't want to admit to anybody that they have bad players. But if you catch them in their own little groups, they'll boo. They'll boo. Well, in the arena, they'll boo the crap out of everybody. All right. Why are we putting down fans? We're not. I love them all. They're just, everybody's different. All right, next game. Okay, Dallas. I think Carolina wins that game is what I'm trying to say after all that. It's a tough one though. It's a tough one. Because Dallas needs this more. That's the hard part about this game is Dallas needs this more than Carolina. I think it's going to be close, and I think it's going to be low scoring. That's my take on that. Islanders versus Detroit. I mean, Detroit seems like they've turned it around a little bit. But beating Philadelphia 6-3 is no fancy. They had a 1-0 win, and then they crapped the bet against Seattle. Then they go home to Philadelphia, play the worst defensive road team in the league, and win 6-3. The New York Islanders beat Ottawa 3-0 convincingly last time they played. And I think that just keeps on going here. I think that the Islanders' pride will continue. The Islanders' pride will continue. And Detroit doesn't have enough pride in that room. It was all fun and good that Detroit's rebuilding and all that kind of stuff like that. But it's time for Detroit to start to show some pride there. I think it's starting to wear on the fans too. I think it's got to happen here now. It's been too long. They got to get some play. They drafted a lot of great players, but again, and Bertuzzi, is he not the weirdest guy to put your finger on? I mean, I love watching him play. You got the whole COVID thing, but in some ways, he seems like that just corny hockey guy that does it. That's just not too bright. You know what I mean? And he looks like he's got a stupid grin on his face all the time. And that's not terrible in itself. But sometimes he's like smiling when you shouldn't be smiling. You know those people that are smiling all the time? And you can it kind of looks like the reason why they're smiling is they just don't know what's going on. So you might as well smile. That's what Tyler Bertuzzi looks like to me. I could be totally wrong about that. But apparently Stevie Yzerman is kind of on that too, because there's a lot of talk about him getting traded in the offseason. But whatever it is, that they need to start drafting and picking up players that know what it means to have heart in an organization. I don't see too much heart in this organization right now. Larkin can't do it all by himself. I'm surprised he hasn't got frustrated beyond control. It's a tough run being this China team, and they're very young. It's getting later in the season. I got a lot of people don't have anything on this game. I really think the Islanders put this one away. I think you're going to see a contrast of two organizations here. You got one organization that's full of veterans that have been fighting hard the last couple of years and kind of petered out this year. And on the other hand, you got an organization that is learning how to fight hard and really hasn't learned it yet. And I think the Islanders are going to come in and probably put them down pretty good here. I think I got, in regulation. I got it in regulation right now. So I don't know what's going to happen next year. I mean, this team doesn't look like it's going to get any younger any soon. They will get some more rest in the offseason because they're missing the playoffs. I imagine the Islanders will be back again, but I just don't think that team's ever going to be a cup contender the way it is. I don't know if there's anything that they can do to become a cup contender for the Islanders. All their good players are just getting older. That's all that's happening, really. I mean, Bailey's not getting any younger. Pageau is good. He never really was a second line center to begin with, But more than likely, what'll happen is they'll get their energy back. They'll play Trotz's system, get the fifth spot in the playoffs, and win a couple rounds and fall out again. But sooner or later, that team's got to really get some youth in that lineup, and I think the rebuild could be nasty. On the other side of it, Detroit, I think it's this year, it's time to bring in some veterans that can teach these kids how to be warriors. That's what I'm really trying to say. Detroit needs to learn how to be warriors now. They got their fancy skill guys in Raymond, and Larkin is there, and he tries as hard as he can. But they need some guys in there to make them accountable. Like when Florida got Hornquist, that was fantastic. That guy holds you accountable all game long. You ever listen to that guy? He's always holding everybody accountable, flat out, every single, yelling off the bench saying, "That's not our game there, buddy. We don't do that here. This is not the way Florida plays." He yells it all through the game and after the game. And I think they need a guy like that. I think that their coach there needs some help from some veterans. That, not Stetcher, the veterans that they have there are like barely there, like Letty. They need some hardcore veterans there, I think. All right, next, some guys, maybe some of those Islanders players that they're playing tonight. Minnesota versus Vancouver. And Vancouver on a back-to-back. They're going to play their hearts out tonight. The question is, what's Minnesota going to play like tonight? And why the hell is Fleury not between the pipes? Where the heck is Minnesota? They got to... There we go. They got their new players in there. They got guys like Delorier. They picked up some good, solid grinder-type players. Jacob Middleton will be in tonight playing with Spurgeon. New pairing that's going to have to learn a few things. You're gone. Are you still there? Are you still there, Joe, or you're heading out? Okay. I just wanted to see how's Minnesota play. It's just this is a tough spot for Vancouver, and there's some guys that I really respect that are taking Vancouver tonight, and that's what has me hard here. They played against Colorado last night, but they had rest. Then they play against Minnesota tonight. I think the reason why they have Minnesota winning or Vancouver winning tonight is Minnesota might take Vancouver too lightly here. But they had a couple games off since they beat the Golden Knights. And maybe they think they're too good. Like Vancouver is going to play better than the Golden Knights tonight. Then the Golden Knights would have played against them. Like, they're going to come at them. So if Minnesota doesn't have their pushback tonight, I could see Vancouver winning this game. Because Vancouver is desperate. They're in desperate mode. They need to win every single game right now. Philadelphia versus St. Louis. I mean, you got to take St. Louis. You got to take the over all day. Like, there's got to be a lot of goals in that game. Binnington versus Jones, Beach Ball Jones. I would be very surprised if there's not a lot of goals in that game. Be very surprised if there's not a lot of goals in that game. And I don't know. Philadelphia is 0-10 on the road in their last 10. And Jones is in net. The big thing here is Binnington's in net, and he's hard to trust. So probably the over is the best play. The problem is St. Louis has been playing very defensive as of late. And this could end up being a weird under. Well, yeah, you're a Flyers fan, Serrano. I guess I should tell everybody that. When we're doing the game, tell me who you think's going to win. Serrano is going to take the Flyers because he's a Flyers fan. But I mean, I am too. But I'm not taking the Flyers. I'm not taking the Flyers against anyone, pretty much, for a very long time. Ottawa versus Winnipeg, and I mean, Winnipeg's hard to trust, especially at this price. Minnesota has been on the road for a while, though, I think. Or, sorry, Ottawa. Ottawa has been on the road for a while, I think. I mean, Winnipeg needs this game, but Ottawa always plays with heart. And Winnipeg sometimes doesn't. You just never know what you're going to get from them. Ottawa. Let's see, they play the Islanders. You were born in Philadelphia. Okay. Yeah, I know. Ottawa. So third game on the road. They played Montreal. New York Islanders, 2 days off. New York Islanders, 1 day off. And now they're going to go home tomorrow to play Florida. I think Winnipeg probably wins that game, but I mean, nothing gives me confidence against Winnipeg. Their defense just hasn't been working well together. Hellebuyck has been amazing, though. I think Hellebuyck just pulls it out, regardless. And I think it's an under, believe it or not. Just Forsberg has been excellent. Forsberg has been excellent for Ottawa. What do we got? The last 10 games, Ottawa has won one game in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Winnipeg has won their last 2 against not very good competition, but Ottawa's not very good competition. And against Vegas, they got outshot all the crap. It was only because of Hellebuyck that they won. I don't know. I just can't trust that team. Edmonton, San Jose. Edmonton's in a terrible spot. They went on the road, then they're back home. I think they played Dallas. No. Yeah, they played Dallas and won. Now they're going home to San Jose. I think Edmonton is very focused right now, though. And then they got to play Calgary. And I think doesn't San Jose kind of own Edmonton and Calgary for some reasons I don't understand why. Yeah, they're 7-2-1 in Edmonton. In the last 8-2 in their last 10. Edmonton and Calgary, for some reason, they just own them. 9-3 straight up in their last 12 against Edmonton. San Jose is 5-0 straight up. I can't put anything on this game. I got screwed in the. I went against the trends against Calgary. I think Lightning win. I don't know. I probably fade it. I hate when I don't understand why these trends happen. What is it about San Jose that they beat Calgary and Edmonton, but they can't beat anybody else? In LA, it's like they choose teams that they never lose against. And Nugent Hopkins is going to be in tonight. I mean, lineup wise, Edmonton should win that game all day long, but they're in a bad spot. It's a soft spot. It's one of those ones where you're on the road, you come home for one, and then you're on the road again. And who are they going to play next? Calgary. So it's an overlooked spot. San Jose's got the better record against them, so they got confidence that they can beat them. San Jose can definitely win that game. Who do you got in that? Edmonton, San Jose, you guys. Who do you got in that? Edmonton, San Jose, who do you got? Chicago, LA. Yeah, I'm not. I just think it's a bad spot for Boston. Lightning, okay, like the Lightning are coming off a couple losses. A tough one against Carolina. And a tough one against the Rangers. I don't know. Lightning after 2 losses, their record is unbelievable. Like I think let's see, they've only lost 3 once all year. And that was against Buffalo, Colorado, and Florida. Oh no, I'm sorry, they didn't. They did it twice. And they've been on the road a long time. Where'd they go? They went Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton. 1, 2, 3. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game road trip. 1 game at home, and now play against Carolina. Them lost against Carolina. Yeah, I just think they're going to give everything here. This is the one. Like they got Detroit next. They don't even have to play hardcore against Detroit. But I mean, if they lose all the rest of the games, or if they only win one of their next 3 games, the one that they will want to win is this one against Boston. And then they play at home for 4 games or something like that. And Boston, Boston's in the same spot pretty much. No, that's Tampa Bay. I thought I brought up Boston. They played a crap load just recently too, I believe. Yeah, they're almost in the. No, that's Tampa Bay. Why the heck is it doing that? I switched to Boston. There's Boston. Boston. I want view Boston game loss. There we go. Yeah, they just came off of a 5-game road trip. Chicago, Minnesota, Winnipeg, Montreal. Oh, yeah. This is the first game back from that road trip. This is a tough spot for Boston, man. First game back off a road trip. And a tough one at that. They were successful. It was a successful road trip. They won 3 out of. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's such a whenever a team has a road trip like that. Like they went to Chicago, all the way to Minnesota, then to Winnipeg, and then to Montreal, and then then to Tampa Bay. And then to Boston, and play Tampa Bay tonight. 2 days off. If it was 1 day off, I'd be for sure on Tampa. But I still think I'm on Tampa. There's something about you have a successful road trip and you get home for 2 days and you just relax and feel. And then you got to get back up again. Where Tampa Bay, they're still in road mode. There's no relax right now. And they lost 2 on the road again. They're coming right at her right now. You're taking Tampa Bay tonight? Yeah, I got Tampa Bay too. Anyways, we did that one before, but I thought I'd go back and look at it for Brian. We got lots of Boston fans in here, which is cool. Boston's cool. LA, Chicago. You got to go LA. The only thing I'm concerned about with LA is so many injuries. So many injuries, but Chicago's on a back-to-back. They're putting D'Elia in. I'm pretty sure they're putting D'Elia in. I haven't actually made sure of that yet. It still says Lankinen, but you're going to play Lankinen back to... No, D'Elia's in. Yeah, they're putting D'Elia in. LA's been playing... Well, they just beat a tough Predators team 5-1. They just beat a tough Predators. Chicago are 1-7 straight up in their last 8 games playing on the road against LA. They got a backup goal. They got a AHL goaltender in that never does well in the NHL. Seldom does he have a good game in the NHL. They won against Anaheim last game, but Anaheim is pretty much a pushover now. And LA had crapped the bet against Vegas, but came back and won 6-1 against Nashville. They're fighting for their playoff lives. Like I said, the only thing I don't like about it is LA is banged up on probably an over here too. Probably look to an over here because LA is banged up on their back end. But I think they're good enough that they can beat. Chicago's not great defensively either, so Yeah, so they got Mattis, Spence, Morver, Dursey, Edler, and Stetcher. Hey, that's a defensive lineup that can bring some goals into the land, that's for sure. But their forward group is pretty solid and straight up. Like, they got way more forward depth than Chicago does. Chicago's on a back-to-back too. I just can't see there being too much heart there to have that extra push on a back-to-back. For Chicago, I mean, a lot of stuff has happened in there. Fleury leaving and all that. The only thing about it is they did have quite a bit of rest before this back-to-back. And it wasn't that far of a travel from Anaheim to LA. But LA's had a day off. They've been at home. They got Seattle after this, so they're not overlooking this game. If anything, this one's more important to them than the Seattle game. So I gotta take LA here. Yeah, I mean Lindholm is great. I love Lindholm, but I don't know. Set in for. I think they got to do something in the offseason to improve their center position, and then hope. I think Boston is in the cross your fingers and hope stage of their time as a contender now for the next however long. Lindholm and McAvoy are amazing combination on the blue line, no doubt about that. But I mean, when you stack up their lineup to Tampa Bay and Florida, maybe Carolina is not really a lineup thing so much. It's sort of like Carolina's like the Islanders of that. Like the Islanders that way. It's more of a whole team effort and stuff like that. Yeah, so many. That's why people draft centers like crazy when they can get them, and they keep them when they get them. And that's also why I think Lafreniere could be on the market. Is what they're looking for is that center. They want to find a center better than Strome for the second line. I think they want to get a number one center, but I don't think you're getting that with a left winger. It really would depend. Like if somebody thinks that Lafreniere has got the potential to be like a Draisaitl, who knows what they'll give you back? Like, yeah, Strome is gone in the offseason for sure. Finally, Nashville and Vegas, and I'm not taking Vegas for anything. I think Nashville's on a back-to-back. They lost to LA last night. They're going to have Saros in net, though, and I'm not taking Vegas for anything. Nothing. Not touching Vegas. I got Nashville. After all that debacle at the trade deadline, and now you got a guy that was traded but he's coming back and he's got that's a terrible energy in that room right now. I'm not touching them. There's so many blunders that organization has done, and now they're going to have to find. Now everybody's going to be on their edge of their seat, wondering how they're going to make room to bring Strome and them in still. So they're probably going to have to go to like Arizona and trade somebody to Arizona with a first round pick. So they've got room to bring in, because now, like, they have no leverage at all. Arizona's just going to be like, we don't need to take your stuff. You give me a first and blah, blah, blah. They can name off whatever they want. I don't know. I mean, he never played with heart before this all happened. So I don't think he's going to play with all that much heart after this all happened. Yeah, I love him too. I think it's he might be taking Norris away from Makar here. He's been so good. Like he's been everything for that Nashville team. It was unheard of, like unthinkable that Makar would not win the Norris this year. But I think you got to kind of put. He'll probably still win it. Makar, how many games did he play? 71 points in 60 games. Yeah, he's going to win it. But, I mean, Josie did what he did, and he didn't have a stacked lineup as Makar did. What you got? Oh, you know what? No, I think Josie's going to win it. 78 points in 62 games. I think Josie's going to steal it from Makar, get his second Norris. That's amazing. Yeah, he's been absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Freaking almost 20 goals. He'll probably score over 20 goals this year. And he's fantastic defensively too. The only thing is they got, oh, Ekholm's back in the lineup. Yeah, I think I think he's gonna win it. Touche. Yeah, I'm going with Nashville tonight too. I can't back Vegas for nothing after all the crap that they've done recently. Anyways, guys, that's my full 42. I got to finish up here. I got to go. I got some stuff I got to do. I might be on tomorrow. I'm going to try to get on a stream tonight. I'm going to try to get on a stream here sometime next week. Maybe tonight. I'll see if maybe Off the Wall Hockey. He's not doing a back-to-back tonight, though. He did one last night. Edmonton's playing San Jose. I wonder if maybe I'll be on with Peyton tonight. No, he's not going to win. Shesterkin's got the Vezina. All right, next time I'm on, we'll talk about who's going to win the trophies. How's that? We'll do that. See you later, guys. Glad to have you on, Joey. Awesome to have you, buddy. And Dork. Oh, no off the wall tonight. Okay, we'll get. I think Peyton's doing a game. I think Peyton's doing the San Jose Edmonton game. I think I'm gonna try to get on there if he is. But talk to you guys later. Have a good one.